So welcome. This is Team Destin. 3 of us tonight instead of the usual 2, because John and I are here in Destin with Adele. Yay! Teaching and sharing Jin Shin Jitsu with just beautiful other students and practitioners. So today was day 1. And so we rushed home from class, and that's why we all have wet hair.
But we're clean.
And we're clean. And we thought it would be great. This new block of these faculty-led classes, study groups, are called Self-Help, Storytelling, and Sharing. And we thought an appropriate place to start would be with how do we greet a new client, an animal client, no matter what the situation is. And we are going to start with self-help, and then I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to do his storytelling and sharing. And then Adele will wrap us up with her storytelling and sharing. And we'll see how this works. Generally, we do the same self-help that we're teaching or studying. One of the most common ways of greeting and beginning an animal session is safety energy lock 10, center of the chest, or 13, center of the chest, and 10 at the center of the shoulder blades. That's really hard to do on ourselves. So rather than doing that, we're going to do our self-help by holding safety energy lock 17. That's right at below the bony area of your outer wrist. And you can feel around and feel if there's a sore spot or an area that's calling you. And just gently feel around. And then when you find that sweet spot, if you will, lighten your touch, relax your hands in your lap, drop your shoulders. And what you're going to do is listen for the pulse in your fingertips. And we listen with our fingertips in Jin Shin Jitsu. Be as comfortable as you can. Sit back, relax. Notice your breathing. You don't have to breathe in any particular way. You might hear Carmen or Shirako breathing in the background. That would be panting. You're probably not panting there. Just breathe as normal and notice your breath. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take this opportunity to give yourself the gift of Jin Shin Jitsu. Here with us for a few minutes. This universal art that applies to all of us, that we know innately, that sometimes it just takes remembering and tuning back in. No matter what our distractions are, we can always come back to the pulse. Safety energy lock 17 is all about relaxation of our nervous system. It helps us with our intuition. When we share Jin Shin Jitsu with our animal friends, the secret is we need to be centered. We need to be grounded. And this is one of the most common ways I personally achieve that before I walk into a kennel or greet an animal and begin placing my hands on them. It really helps to relax, restore, rejuvenate, and ground, to come down. Jinshin Jitsu is about harmonizing and balance. And very often it's both ends of the spectrum. So 17 helps us to relax, and it's also smelling salts. So whichever way the pendulum is swinging, if we need a little pick-me-up or we need a little relaxation, this is a really, really simple self-help to do. Jinshin Jitsu's grounded in the breath. We exhale down the front. We receive an inhale up the back. And that continuous oval is happening whether we're tuned in or not. And when we focus on watching that breath traveling down the front of our body, as we exhale and let go, and traveling up the back as we inhale and receive, we're tuning into that cosmic energy, that miracle that we very often take for granted. Jinshin Jitsu can be done anywhere. It can be done while you're driving, as long as it's safe, while you're standing in a line at a grocery store, or while you're giving yourself a gift of some meditative time, like this half an hour. If you really want to deepen your meditation aspect of it, you can watch your breath down the front as you exhale and up the back as you inhale. And then every once in a while, tune into your fingertips to notice if you feel the pulse. Simply observation, noticing the awareness, just being with yourself. Our minds can only focus on a maximum of 3 things at a time. Multitasking is not true. It's just a really quick changing of the mind, changing of focus and attention. When we give our minds something specific, a max of 2 or 3 things to focus on, that can calm that busy monkey mind, and that too helps to calm us. Now notice whether you feel a pulse. Gently release that hand and let's go to the other wrist. Again, take a little inventory. Notice the difference in that safety energy lock from the one that you just left. Is there a temperature difference? Is there a texture difference? One of the things Mary considered naming Jinshin Jitsu was Now Know Myself. Self-help is the way in. This observation through touch of these safety energy locks in the sequences that we learn from Jinshin Jitsu heightens our awareness of what's going on in our body, mind, and spirit. It helps us help ourselves. It helps us articulate what help we need from others. It helps us be present so that we can enjoy the moment in full joy, laughter, and presence. Just in that shift from one hand to the other, notice if you've invoked any tension in your body. And as you exhale, relax down the front of your body as you watch the breath progress downward. And at the tip of your toes, watch it turn and come up the soles of your feet, relaxing all along the pathway as it ascends up the back with your inhale. Top of your head circles back over and becomes the exhale again. Notice whether you feel a pulse in your fingertips. And then very gently, when you're ready, you can release your hold, open your eyes, and come back for some stories and sharing.
Hey, everybody. I'm John. Welcome. So we're here in Destin, Florida, and doing our classwork at Alaqua Animal Refuge in Freeport, just down the road. And we arrived here a couple of days ago and scouted the animals that we wanted to work with and wanted to see who would be receptive to the work and get an idea of the lay of the land. So I'm going to share my screen. These are some just iPhone videos we took spur of the moment as we did some of these meet and greets. And Adele introduces this 1013, Safety Energy Lux 10 and 13 as the initial centering hold as a way to introduce ourselves and introduce this art. But even before that, there's this idea of meeting these beings where they are and making sure they're comfortable. So it's before even getting to 1013, it's grounding ourselves as Jude was talking about, and doing our own self-help. And then approaching them when they're ready and where they're ready. So I'll share my screen, and this is Penelope, who we met on Tuesday at the old sanctuary at the original Alaqua. Bear with me. And this. So all three of us are in the kennel, and Penelope was let out to meet us, and I just sat down in the corner and I waited for Penelope to come to me. There was a lot going on and very excited, and I just sat and waited, holding my 17s as Jude was just doing with this self-help. And she approached me, and somebody had given me some treats to hold, and I had that. So tools of the trade, working with rescue and sanctuary animals, but anything to make them at ease, whatever that is where I start. And so I'm just sitting, I'm at her level, and this is a pity mix. And I think she just had puppies not that long ago. Anyway, she's not been a long time resident, but was, so this is a quick video, but I'm just petting her as I normally would, letting her have a treat and just settle into, it's nice to meet you. Just gentle pats. Let's stop that and kill that. And I'll share it. We did these in little snippets, so it's not one continuous video. Hang on 1 second. So now Penelope's returned, and I've already got my hands where I'm hoping that they would go to. My right hand is on the Safety Energy Lock 10, and my left hand is right in there under her chest, in between her legs, and the Safety Energy Lock 13. So she just came right to me, and I allowed my hands to kind of settle into those Safety Energy locks. and just sat with her as long as she wanted to be there. And I think she just gets up and moves on. There's a lot going on in this little encounter for her. But excuse me, I stayed where I was. I didn't move, and I just let her come to me when she was ready. And I think this last one is a little bit more. Okay, she came over. Oh, hold on. Got too many things going on, and pause that. Share screen. Share that. She'd come over to me and lay down. And again, I started immediately in by holding her 13 and her 10. And because she's so comfortable and at ease, I started moving my hands. I keep my hand on the 13 there, my right hand, and I think I moved to her safety energy lock 4 at the base of her head because I can. And she's comfortable. She's completely at ease. This is a dog I'd never met before. Completely relaxed. And I switch my hands because that's what's comfortable for me and for her. So I can continue to hold all the way through. So, this art is about it. Working with animals has been a real gift because it really helps us to become an artist and to see where we can meet them, how we can use this art and work with the art to meet them where they are and support them where they need it most. So a great start to my week here in Destin, Florida, in Alaqua Animal Rescue. And today we had a great class. Looking forward to a couple more. So with that, I'll turn it over to Adele. Oh, sure. So I'll just stay here and just move over.
Oh, okay. I'm coming in. All right. I think it's really fun to have them here. We're not always quite this close, just this minute. I think we know everybody who's on the call, but if you are new to us, please feel free to put your email or message, whatever, into the chat so we can let you know about upcoming things, ways that Jin Shin Jitsu for your animal companions grow. So with the class starting today and all of this, I was thinking a lot about the how do you start? And I just wanted to, I said this in the class today, and it's been, I had a sick dog who was the center of my life 30 years ago, but I didn't know how to start. So I didn't. I didn't start for years. And he was sick. And I could have started and done it, quote, wrong, and it still would have been infinitely better than what I did by not trusting myself and putting it off so long. So I'm going to encourage you. Remember that you can't do this work wrong unless you put your hands in your pockets and don't offer them to the animals. So then I was thinking, okay, a story, right? New format, got to come up with a story. Well, I had an occurrence happen last week that was pretty unique for me in the realms of meeting new animals and sharing with them. Out at the stable where my beautiful Teha is, there's an old girl. We don't know exactly. She's about a 29-year-old horse, we think. And if you looked up the Webster's Dictionary of an old gray mare, you would see this picture of Diamond. And she's been really depressed, not eating, not breathing well, very bad deep skin issues, scratching her skin off on the trees, and just sullen. And so about 10 days ago when I was out there, the stable owner asked me, I don't know what to think. I don't know if she wants to leave. I don't know if we should assist her to get out of her body. So honestly, even with 30 years of the work, rarely have I been asked to put my hands on someone to figure out if they wanted to leave. But I did. And that's how I fell in love. She is such a sweet darling. And she loved the work. It was like she froze. She was just knocked out with it. And at that moment, what I was thinking is, does she want out of her body? So something that John mentioned, that is one of the way we have that discussion with animals, is that same center of the breastbone, 13, and then the 4 up at the base of the skull. And I did hold that on her, and she kind of buried her head down and closed her eyes. And at first I took that as a yes. But then shortly thereafter, she took her neck and kind of wrapped around me. And then later on, we took her out in the field. She was running and eating and staying with the other animals. And she's still here. She's still with us. I've kind of adopted her as my god horse, like a godchild, but a god horse, if you will. And so I just was going to share a short video with you of what I'm playing with now as I get to know her and offer her some more of this art. And it's a shorty, nothing goes real deep, but look at that beauty. She has a hematoma in her ear, so it looks like her ears are down, but she wasn't eating last week. She wasn't eating until she got Jinshinjutsu. And just ways to say hello, putting hands on, sometimes going over the whole body, seeing what feels good, what's of interest to them. Oh my good girl. Oh. And then sinking into that 10 and 13. That connection, letting her know she is seen, she's heard, she's felt. With humans, if they ate the entire time you worked on them, you might find that strange. But with the animals, especially a grazing animal who hasn't been grazing, it's fantastic that she just keeps on eating. So now I'm up here at the 4 and that 13. And while she's not resistant to it, she's not closing her eyes. She's not drifting off like she wants to leave. So it's an ongoing story. And he'll, you know, she's 29. It won't go on forever. But while she's here, she loves this art. Now we're on, you can't see that backhand, but I'm on the 14 and the 22, the anchor step of the lung flow to help her deep skin, to help let go of sadness, to help her breathing. So that's the crush I got this week.
We have one more bonus video with our new friend Petunia.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay. Do you want to hear?
I got it.
Let's start it and then do the share.
At the refuge next to Alaqua, they have some exotic animals, and this, if you would believe it, is an African porcupine.
So this video. So this porcupine's been in captivity most of his life, and was rescued from, I think, SeaWorld or one of these other theme park things in Florida. but it's clearly been around humans and is comfortable with human contact. The handlers are just magnificent people and very gifted. But they talked us through what to do and how to be and how to posture ourselves. This is not something you'd want to try on your own, and definitely not in the wild. But so this is in the rodent family, this animal, and those quills, the dangerous quills that people talk about or maybe have experienced, are in the back. In the front of the hair is, I wouldn't say soft, is not the right word, but you can pet and touch him, and he's a food lover. They love tuber kind of root vegetables, and so I'm feeding him some of those. The handler there. Let me start this up. Very brief, but just a nice encounter with really wildlife. That's living in a beautiful sanctuary with amazing people. But again, my hand just finds its place. I'm right there at Safety Energy Lock 4. I know where my hands are because I've studied and worked this art. And it's just great to have the ability to have these special encounters.
There we go. So needless to say, we're having a fun week. So Tiana and Terry, that's who you'll meet Sunday. Woohoo! So questions or comments? Anything?
I have a question.
Sure.
I noticed that when you were working on the horse, I know that like you get that jolt, like when you get worked on with as a human, you get that natural burst of energy where you want to kick your leg or punch your arm out or whatever. I noticed the horseback's legs were like stomping.
Unfortunately, that was not exotic. I would love to say that was pure energy, but that was pure flies.
Oh, okay. I just
Yeah. I could make
were,
a better story. It just wouldn't be true.
I just wondered.
Yeah, they do get that. And it's why when you work on a horse, you don't kind of close your eyes and go in the zone, because they can release, and they can step out, and they can hurt your tootsies. But this was just about.
Well, I had a pleasant surprise this morning. I've mentioned before in Zooms with you that Prince, my cattle dog, gets squirmy when I start to do Jinshin, and I think it's a control issue. He starts to feel something and it's like, I don't have control. I don't like this. And he moves away, especially with the 10 and 13. But we just got back from an 8-day trip and he was with the dog sitter. He does get separation anxiety. So he had a little sniffle and even a sneeze. Slightly started before we left, just before. I think he knew what was going on. And the dog sitter said, yeah, he had a little bit while we were there. But this morning he was, last night he was sneezing, and then this morning a little bit. But he lays in bed with me, and I decided to start the lung flow. And he started licking the hand that was on the 22. And like, move it away. I kind of held there because he could have moved and he didn't. And finally, he just looked at me and plopped, stared at me and just put his head down and just went with it. I did the entire lung flow, even his 18. He was a little fidgety with that, but he held to it. Then because I figured he was dealing with sadness from us being gone, I did reverse and increase second depth. And then I did, Adele, your favorite, spleen flow. And I think he might have sniffled a little bit on his walk this morning with my husband, but nothing since. And so I'm hoping that since he let me do that much, that he's in.
That is beautiful. Thank you.
And he's 4, so it's taken a long time.
Well, Mary says in a few moments, more or less. Bravo. That's just great. They don't sign up for class like we did. They have to learn it as they learn it. So any other questions or comments? Or I got to tell you something exciting, guys. See that one that says Susan Reinhardt? That's my sister. Anyway, it's going to be easier to find us now. We were used to alternate, but now we are the first and third Thursdays of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Zoom link is always the same, and it's right on the front page of my website. And we, like Jude said, we have a YouTube channel so you can catch the reruns. So, well, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Where's Yona? You have a hand raised there, Yona.
Yeah, a human animal here, just about this efficacy of the 17s. You know, I've been dealing with a lot of these strange pains that come along with this label that I have. And this 17 is miraculous. Being on the small intestine flow and how it's going through the arms and the shoulder, pains that I have that come and go on my shoulders, my elbows, they're all gone. So magic.
It also brings up your intuition.
Yep.
So if you want to work with intuitive communication with
Yeah.
the animals, 17s are a good buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Yona.
Sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Bravo.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you all.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
This is amazing. Thank you.
Bye, my friend.
See everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.